this corporate America environment. This is,
This is
I know,
hilarious.
such a, yeah.
This is my first time using Microsoft Teams.
Oh, man, this is awesome. I know.
Country. Nobody uses this.
Corporate America does. That's for sure. But everyone, like the rest of the world, does not.
Right.
So welcome, Kelsey. Thank you so much for being here. I feel so lucky to get to have you join us today.
That's sweet. I'm so thankful to be here.
Thank you. And for everyone who's here, thank you for dropping your city location and Instagram handle in the chat. Just a reminder, if you have your phone on microphone, just put it on mute, and that will help with the quality of the sound. I have Kelsey Chance here today, which everyone knows who saw the invite or who was able to read it, who was able to stalk her account to see what she's all about and why she's so special. Everyone is really eager to get to know you and listen to you. So I'm only going to talk just to ask you some really cool questions I hope that you think are cool. But before we do that, I want to also talk about who you are a little bit as a person. And then just a fun fact, Kelsey and I know each other. We grew up in the same town. We went to the same very small school together. And we also dated the same guy, not at the same time.
Fun fact.
But our high school sweethearts was the same. Who knew we would find ourselves in this place later on in our adult lives? But it's a really, I've really enjoyed staying in touch with everybody in my town, but it's been such a pleasure to see Kelsey's growth as just like a person, and then also business wise. I think I relate, and I'm sure so many people relate to Kelsey. She has this ability to make herself very relatable, and she just has this ability to connect people and feel connected when you look at her content or when you see her perspective. So that's my perspective of Kelsey. But Kelsey, tell us a little bit about like either like a day in the life of Kelsey Chance, or like if you can even, or tell us like how you got started into what you do now.
Yeah. Every single day of my life is just like completely different and completely like fly by the seat of my pants, which is, I think, why I like this job that I do. So I got started in social media, I think, sort of just because I liked it. Like I've always loved the power of the platform, and I started an Instagram account for my dog one time, and it like took over my life, and it just like exploded my brain, and I realized just how many people you can truly connect with. That was also back in the day when you could get Instagram followers like it was nothing. So things have changed, but yeah. So I essentially like, my job is to create content as sort of this like behind the scenes content creator. I think that content creators get this sort of like interpretation as being influencers, and I like intentionally I don't want to do that. I think that staying sort of just behind the scenes, yeah, like I have a studio here and I shoot content all day every day for different brands. And I work with them on how to support their sales goals. And yeah, I'm like photographer slash.
You kind of do it all. It's if those of you who are listening in, if you haven't gone over to Kelsey's like website, it's very clear as to like the different services that you can offer to your clients. But then on top of all of that, you do so much more. And what I think is unique about you is you're able to not just have a very creative perspective, but you also strategize, and you're very well trained technically in what you do. I mean, your clients are people like Rainier Beer and Kroger, and you do photography, styling, like studio. You also do what's called brand build and social media. And I think that that's interesting because they both have to do with this same thing. But what's the difference between like a brand build and social media?
So building a brand would essentially be like trying to ask the really hard questions to somebody who's starting a business and saying like, what does this business mean to you? How can we formulate like your logo, your words? I like to have like a few power words that you incorporate into a lot of, like your labels or whatever your business may be. Maybe it's just on your social media posts or, just building a brand is like getting to the heart and soul of like
the DNA.
Like why a business exists or why a person wants to like sell a thing. And then, so for social media, I do a lot of just straight up management of people's accounts for them, because this stuff is like soul sucking in a lot of ways. And I totally get that. Like people just don't want to spend the time on these platforms. Especially in 2020, that was like, I don't know, that was just a hard time for anyone to be like posting the right thing. And so anyway, I manage people's accounts for them, and it's essentially like brand building, but in execution form, like actually carrying out like their brand voice and like their brand imagery. Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. And it's very relatable to what we are now doing. Like you said, 2020 was a year where no one knew really what to post. It was like it was very either tone deaf or either like too serious or too real. Like, how do you still stay in business as a brand, but like empathize with what's going on in the world? And that's where the balance is really hard for some. And we're not past all of that, but we've kind of grown this tolerance to accepting, I guess, things are going to be chaotic and things like that. There's people who have figured out the voice a little bit more, but we're still very lost, and it's changing in a big way, because not only now are we in brick and mortar stores, we're online and doing both as employees. And so I think it's important for people to realize what a undertaking that is, to go from what the person is like seeing in their homes to being the bookend to greeting them in the store when they go to purchase or something like that. So you also have on your website what I think is really cool, like you blog a little bit. And I'm sure like you don't have the time to do it as much anymore because you're like, your life is crazy. If you follow Kelsey, you will know that she's in the middle of a studio move and like raising a dog, and she's newly married. If you had like, her wedding was just unreal, the way that she did it. She did get married in 2020 in a way that was so unique and different. I've never seen anything like it. But you have the blog, and I think one of the topics that you talk about on the blog, which is a couple years old, but it's okay because I think the principles are really just important. And one is more followers versus strategic followers. And this is like the first question I have for you is, and everybody wants to know how to grow their following. But in this blog that you have, you talk about the difference between more versus strategic. Can you kind of describe what that means?
Yeah, absolutely. So the concept of like fast followers or buying followers is not new. I think a lot of people know that you can like purchase followers and they're bots. They're not real people. You can pretty quickly like identify these fake accounts. But yeah, it essentially like gives you that big fluffy number, and like,
yeah,
it's more likely that you can land brand partnerships that way, or catch eyes and kind of be this like more quote unquote reputable brand. But what's interesting is that in recent years, Instagram has put a lot more emphasis on engagement, and engagement is not something that you can purchase, and it's not something that those fake followers can like do. So there are all of these metrics in social media, right? Like,
and they change constantly too.
Totally, they always change. But so like now there's saves, and then there's like likes, and there's sends, like you can see who's sharing your Instagram posts. Like there's all these different metrics, and Instagram pays attention to that stuff. And if you have a ton of followers, but you don't have a lot of those metrics that are hitting, it's pretty clear that your followers are fake. So your content gets seen by less people. Instagram essentially will like ding you for that. But not only that, like your content isn't going to be seen by a lot of people anyway if you only have a couple, real followers.
Yeah.
And getting your impressions and your views of your content really high is like the number one goal of any brand on social media. You want your content to essentially be like viral. So you want people to be saving it, you want people to be sending it to their friends and family, and you just want it to be seen by more people. And if you don't have to pay for that, then that's like the greatest thing ever.
Yeah.
So anyway, yes, strategic followers are the people that are engaging in your content, and figuring out your ideal follower is like at the heart and soul of all social media. Exactly. And you can do that. I mean, in your insights, you can go in and see who your followers are. You can tap through the audience and kind of see the breakdown of their demographics. And that's something that I urge everyone to pay close attention to, just because, if you have a skewed audience that's like 90% women, but you're posting a lot of imagery of like masculine products or people, like there could be a disconnect there that's not resonating. And like, I don't know, that's a really like basic example, but you just want to be making sure that the people that are following you are getting their needs met in some weird way. You know what I mean?
Totally. I mean, I was reading through that blog post and it was cracking me up because at the beginning of quarantine, we were called to do lots of content on our Instagram, and it was truly to just be able to uplift others. And it wasn't to like if we got sales, then great, but it really wasn't to like go after the sale. It was to really just produce inspiring content because people were going through a really hard time. And so it cracked me up because my insights, I checked them at the beginning. And then recently, maybe like a month ago, I saw like the ratio of men to women. And I think when I started posting like makeup, and obviously like the Canadian is a big buzzkill to all the guys who follow, I think like 60 or 70% of my following were men before. And my number did not increase, but I've lost followers and gained followers. And it's completely shifted to the opposite, the very opposite. A year later, my Instagram now has like 65 to 70% women and like 30 or 25% men. So it's
So
very like your following is really going to show you what's in like who you're targeting, I guess.
yeah, it's like a roadmap for what sort of content to be creating. And I think also too, like I've always said this, and this was like, I think the number one piece of advice I've ever gotten in marketing is if you're putting out content that feels true to you and is like what you want to be saying and putting out there, then you'll attract people that are your people and they'll like you for you. And then it's really easy to build this like, you know, great kind of organic relationship online, which is like the beauty of social media, right? So
Exactly.
yeah, I guess you can guide your content to some degree by what your follower demographics are, but also know that like what you put out there will just change your follower demographics anyway too.
Completely.
It's like a two-way kind of a thing.
Yeah, I agree. It also makes me think, you know, there's in cosmetics and retail cosmetics, we have like a lot of what's called diversion. And it's like, you know, a lot of people who want to purchase like several amounts of one product. And we're not allowed to do that because of just regulations and things like that. And so, you know, like it's telling me if we're constantly just putting promotion after promotion or like discount after discount, like we're going to collect more diverters or people who just are trying to scam us or something like that versus a true honest customer who's really looking to feel inspired by the content.
That's so true. Yeah, I think that there are certain people that only have social media accounts just to like enter giveaways or like try and get deals or whatever. But like for the most part, that's not who you're trying to target in your content.
Yeah, exactly. It's not what's creating the community, at least, that you're trying to really be a part of. And then I also want to know, like, where do you find your inspiration? Because you kind of have this way to be all over the place, like with not like in a, that sounds bad, but
no,
like,
you know,
but you're like everywhere. And that's what's so cool is like, you're constantly changing. Like, how do you feel inspired to do the things that you do?
So I'm inspired by the fact that I create content for brands that resonate with me personally. And like, I work with a lot of like outdoor gear brands and I love to be outdoors. And so it almost feels like this wonderful motivating excuse to go on a camping trip. Which
I don't even want to talk about camping.
Okay, sorry. The other stuff that I love is I have a lot of wine clients, and I
love wine.
I love wine.
Lots of people on here love wine too.
Wine is my favorite thing. And I don't know, I think I've manifested something where I now have wine clients because of that.
Yeah.
So anyway, like I stay inspired because I love these brands and I love that I get to like call this work and I get to go set up a wine picnic out at a park with my friends and take photos of it. And like, I don't know, I find inspiration by staying true to myself and staying true to what I love. And like a lot of the things that I'm doing, I have my camera out or my phone out and I'm like capturing it, but it doesn't take away from the fact that like I'm still doing a thing that I really love to do.
You're enjoying the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the work that I find the least inspiration by is when I, shoot things that like I just don't know anything about, or like it's just like there was a shampoo bar company and I don't know, I've never used that. Like it's just like there's all these things that I have to try and connect the dots on and do research on, and it's not organic and natural feeling for me to shoot certain things. But yeah, I would also say that like I find a lot of inspiration for the content that I shoot on the internet. Like, to be fair, I save a lot of posts that I think are really engaging and like use that save feature and refer back to like, they're essentially mood boards, right? If you see a reel that you think is super cool, you can like literally use the audio from that reel and create your own. And that's like a really, I don't know, it's easy. It makes it easy. Instagram makes it easy for you to create content.
That's awesome. And that's really great advice too, because anyone can use that. So I want to go into the next question because we don't have like a ton more time, even though I could go forever about inspiration, because I feel really similar to you. I do the things that I think are inspiring to me. And I try to stay true to that. It's tough when you have like responsibilities within your workplace and you have to mix in or incorporate another person's vision as well. And I'm sure that you have lots of different ways that you deal with that too. But maybe we could go into that on a different time, because I really want to talk about like what was one of the most, I guess, successful posts that you've done for either yourself or a different company. And was there like a common recipe that you have like put together to create that success?
That's a really good question. I hands down would say that the most successful post that I ever did for a wine brand was just this really, really happy photo of a friend of mine drinking wine out at a park. And she is like glowing and like, it's just the most authentic. Mm-hmm. I don't even know why it got so many likes, but everyone was like, oh, this is so beautiful.
Yeah.
But anyway, I just think that like people can tell when you're authentic, and contrived content just feels contrived. I think we all know what that feels like. So yeah, just like I said, staying in the moment and being like, you know what, I just want to film like myself getting ready for the day, or like I want to show people what I'm doing right now without it feeling scripted. I just think that that is content that like it does offer value, whether you think it does or not. People are so interested in seeing people living their like true selves and their like real life and everything. Like it just is that way. And I'll also say too, like Reels is the most like insane hack for like getting quick growth. I just want to throw that out there. If people are uncomfortable on Reels, like I get it. I am too, but you don't have to like dance or whatever to like make your reel go viral. But a post that I put together, a reel that I put together for a brand got like within the first couple minutes got 5,000 views. And it was just like my friends like out skiing and drinking wine on the chairlift. And it was like, I think it just took, I don't know, maybe the song.
First of all, where can you drink wine on a chairlift?
Probably nowhere, but we just, I mean, do it. Like
you're just a wild child.
I think it's just like everyone's.
But that's so cool. Like I love the fact that you said people are very interested about everyday life, like what other people are doing. People want to connect. There's something about this authenticity that is people are going to know if it's not authentic, that's for sure. Mm-hmm. And also Reels is a really great hack. So if someone's making a reel, which we haven't gotten into, and I guess I know what my next call is going to be on, like what, like, I don't even know how to ask, like, but if you could imagine like a beauty brand or people who are creating their own content for like their in-store beauty brand, like what type of reel do you recommend?
I would recommend showing the product and showing it like not like in its packaging. If you can, like show it getting rubbed on your skin, like a just quick swipe. Showing things getting like dabbed on your face, showing your, I don't know, entire face if you're comfortable with it. People really like to see faces. Faces and content just always performs more in general across the board. Yeah, I would say like not being shy about like just digging into products. And also a key thing, this is kind of just silly, but having really good light to showcase the products is key. I shoot for a beauty products brand, and I shoot everything in direct sunlight, which if you're not like a photographer expert, I don't blame you. But for example, like this little patch of sun right here is direct sunlight. So find the really sunny spots and just like, you know, kind of take videos of products that'll glisten really beautiful in that light. And it doesn't take anything more than really that with like a catchy song. You know what I mean?
You make it sound like so simple and easy, which is inspiring too. So I know that there's a lot of people who are listening that are like, I can't wait to like give this information to whoever they want to give it to. For someone who is in like a store setting who can't necessarily go into direct sunlight, because there's some regulations with like doing work outside of the store too, like they can't do anything like off the clock or stuff like that. Like how would you manufacture maybe that light within a store setting?
Do you guys have like ring lights or anything like that?
We can get ring lights, yeah, if they don't. Yeah.
I think that, yeah, I mean, anything that just like makes a product show, because, and maybe you could even get it to show up really nice in indoor light. Yeah, it's just a little bit more difficult to like see textures and things like that. But if you have the right light and you can find light near you that'll work, like, the cool thing about beauty products is that you don't have to show like an entire scene. You don't have to show where you are. You can just like, literally be right there next to the camera, and it doesn't have to feel like it's in a store. It can feel like it's in a bathroom just as easily. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I love that too, because I think a lot of the time when we do anything like artistry, we feel like we need to stay true to the art, and we don't want to throw people off and make them think it took 30 seconds to do something that took us an hour to do. But that's like, people don't want to have to go through the process with the person. They want to see like what it looked like before and what it looked like after, really. And like maybe the mess in between. But I really love too your behind the scenes stuff where it's like you have this gorgeous studio that you're in, and you're like, today I'm going to go shoot on the sidewalk, on the craft sidewalk, because it's better.
The light, I can't get over it. I mean, yeah, there's sometimes really good light. I mean, there's usually really good light inside, but like if it just depends on the product and like, textures and you can, I think that for the most part, whether you're an expert in photography and capturing good imagery or not, like, the cool thing too about Reels and Instagram is that there are filters that can kind of like help bring that out anyway too, without the perfect light. So,
right. So those are my main questions for you, and I'm so glad we got to a lot of stuff in a shorter amount of time. But I do want to give some time for anyone who's joining us to ask any questions. If they would like. So you could either put it in the chat, those of you who are listening, or turn your mic on and camera if you want, and speak up and ask Kelsey anything you'd like. I just heard like Canadian talk on one of his calls, and I'm like, oh, he wants to ask a question.
He hops in.
Hi, Kelsey. This is Bianca. I have a question for you.
Yeah, hi.
Do you find hashtags to still be effective, or are those a thing of the past? Or is it more just kind of like to keep your photos together? Or what do you think about them?
Hashtags are super important still, totally. And actually, there are some hacks that I would love to go into a little bit on how you can figure out like exactly how many impressions you're driving from each hashtag. But it's like complicated. But I would say that like a lot of times, some of the most popular posts that I've put out there for brands only get as many impressions as they do because of the hashtags used. There is also something happening where Instagram will ding you if you use the same hashtags over and over again. So if you're like a lot of people where you have a note saved on your phone of all your hashtags that you like copy and paste, make like 4 or 5 of those and like cycle through those notes and have different hashtags in each one, which is like, but yeah, hashtags are huge. They're definitely still a thing, and even more so lately because people can follow an actual just hashtag, which I'm sure you've seen, and then those posts will pop up in your feed, and you're more likely to see them without having to actually even search for that hashtag. So yes, do keep using them.
That was a great
Awesome.
question.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Go ahead. I see someone's mic on, but I'm not sure if they're trying to talk. Well, it sounds like, oh, hi, Shannon.
Hi, guys. Hi, Kelsey.
Hi.
Farah, I'm following you. I started following you right away after
Oh.
you told us about you. And I have a Frenchie baby too, like you do. So I've been like, I love following. I love your content. I love following when you were doing like your road trip. And it was so much fun. And you're so sweet. You always comment back and like everything. And I feel like I know you so well already. So first of all, I want to thank you so much for joining us and being a part of our call today with our team. You have shared such amazing insights, which is so good, so great for us because, we do know that, with our clients, through everything that happened with quarantine and everything that's going on, we have the same clients in store, so online and offline. So we're really trying to, make this whole experience, bring it together. But I don't really have a question, but just kind of a comment. First of all, I love all of your suggestions, and I want to do a reels now. So I have not done a reels yet, but I'm going to try now, Kelsey.
Do it.
But like I'm thinking too, and maybe just like I'm thinking of like our beauty advisors in store and everything that you were sharing and how Caroline was saying, they need to do, this content on work time. Like I'm thinking where I would start, and like you said, keeping it very organic and like you said, you tend to go towards the brands that you love and the things that you love. So when I think of that in context of what we do within our categories in Lancome, it would be for me like if I have my favorite skincare routine that I just love so much, and I know I'm going to have a big smile on my face while I'm sharing it and doing that because I love these products so much. And it'll be easy to share the results that they give because it's been my own experience. Like, I just want to kind of share that with everybody because that's where my brain went to with everything you were sharing was, okay, I'm going to start searching and finding reels that I love that I think this really attracted me, whether it's someone talking or maybe they had music and they did some script on it or whatever the case may be to see what I'm comfortable with. And then I would go to whatever I'm most comfortable showing and applying. So like if I'm thinking if anyone is just like, oh, I love my lashes and I have this lash routine and that's what I'm going to share because I love it, or skincare, my skincare routine I know is the best and I want everyone to know what I'm using. Like I just want to let everybody, think of it that way. Like, because I think Kelsey, everything you've shared definitely those rules apply to everything that we're doing. And it's everybody just feeling comfortable with what is it that they're want to share. And I think the best way to do that is to start with what you love most and are most excited about, so that because I love how you said content with a face, how that really gets, I think a lot of times we'll go to product and be like, okay, you know, we'll show the product. So it's good to know that if you're willing to, that, you know, clients want or followers want to see a face and like tips and applications. So
That's a really good tip too, Shannon, to kind of combine what Kelsey was saying and making it really tangible for what we could do too. So thank you for that.
oh yeah, it applied so well. You've got like light bulbs. You got all the light bulbs going off, Kelsey, too. And you mentioned filters on all of them. That's always a good thing if there's a good filter, right? You don't, because some stores may have the light, some stores may not, and they are a little more challenged. So there's always that filter option as well.
Totally.
But thank you so much. It's just everything you've shared is really like hitting home, and it's yeah, we really appreciate it.
Totally. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for joining me, and a huge thank you to Kelsey for being on here today in such a different environment than you're used to, I'm sure. But we really do appreciate it. I know a lot of the people that are on the call are senior management at Lancome, and they're going to bring this back also to their teams to share. So we appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. This is really sweet. I love talking social media. So yeah, if you have any follow-up questions, don't hesitate to reach out. I'm always game to chat.
We probably will. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We'll see everyone later.
Thank
Have a
you
great rest of your
so
day.
much, Kelsey. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.